Hello everybody and welcome to our first episode of Bossed Up Business YouTube channel. So on this channel you can expect so much information in regards to everything business related, from our wins, our losses, our success, how we have generated multiple different businesses of different industries. And we want to be able to provide our knowledge and our first-hand experience to you so you can implement that when you are starting your own business. We are in 2024, nearing the end of 2024 actually, and now is the most important time in your life to make sure that you are able to get ahead and to really go into a career path that is going to be extremely fulfilling, is going to provide you with that financial freedom and just, open your life to so many different opportunities. So with that being said, we are going to start our first video.
All right, so let's go. So we've obviously just launched Bossed Up, if you guys have been following. This is a project with myself and Carly that we've kind of joined forces, both our expertise from a male perspective and a female perspective. And we just kind of wanted to create this business and help others and educate others where we also save them time and money. So this is why we have created this, and it's also something we genuinely enjoy doing. So first off, I did notice that since we launched, there's been a lot of girls that have been reaching out to you, or to us should I say, but mainly now to you because of especially the activewear sector. They've been asking you the first steps, how to start. But what I've noticed is that they are almost afraid to take that first step. So everybody has these goals and ambitions, and I know a lot of people have this dream life, and sometimes they say they want to do something, but what have you noticed that people are struggling with, that most people are just afraid to take that leap?
Absolutely. So I've seen this question arise every time I've had a client call across board. Everyone has this big dream, this big idea, this big business they want to start, but nobody understands the first steps they need to take. It's like we have the goal here, but in order to reach that, there are so many different levels that we need to climb, and so many building blocks that really comes into building a business's foundation. I would say there's a lot of girls that just purely don't have the skill set and don't understand how to take those next steps. Say for example, they want to go into an e-com business, they have no idea about the manufacturing, they have an idea of the product that they want to release, but they don't understand how to create that product, then bring that product to market. Always remember that when we are in business, anyone can create something, but if you don't have the right business plan and the business knowledge to get that to market, to get money in your bank account and to start making sales, you're going to find that you're going to lose a lot of money. So definitely I would say lack of skills. I would also say lack of confidence. And I believe this is where we really come in handy, especially with our mentorship program, is that having that someone in your corner that has been there and that they have done that. And that is ultimately going to save you a lot of time and money, and you're not going to make mistakes, but it's also going to give you that encouragement that you're not going on this journey alone. I know when I first started my first ever business, I had to learn it from the ground up. There was no one there to support me. I had no one in my family that had any prior knowledge of owning their own business, and I had to make so many costly mistakes. But through all of that learning, I've been able to, grow my mind, my knowledge, my expertise in multiple different industries and have a lot of success. So I think, confidence will definitely come down to it. And then lastly, I was going to say as well, just laziness. And I really hate to say that, but I've jumped on a few calls lately, and I don't know, for some reason people think that starting their own business and making all this money is really, really easy to do. Now, if it was really, really easy, every single person would be doing it and we'd all be multimillionaires. Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? It takes a lot of hard work, it takes grit, it takes push, it takes getting through those times when it is tough and you've got your back up against the wall. So I think as a person, when you're going to even think about going into business and starting your own thing, you need to have a very strong characteristic and understand that, okay, it's going to be a grind, but if I put in the 100% effort, it's going to eventually pay off.
So one more other question that I did notice a few people, and I noticed some guys that reach out to me that have the same issue, is we know the whole term, you need money to make money. But I know a lot of people don't actually have money to start a business.
Right.
So what if you were in that position, what would you do? What would be the first step that you'll take in your plan to start a business? Or to just start, let's say if we're talking about activewear, for example. We know where you need the money for manufacturing, sampling, distribution,
Right.
photo shoot. So you need a little bit of money.
Absolutely.
Some people in this day and age right now don't have those sort of funds. So
Right.
what would you do if you were in their shoes?
Absolutely. I feel like when you are going to go into starting your own business, it is an investment at the end of the day. No one can just, pull money out of thin air. You're going to have to start with some type of capital. You could go down multiple different routes. You could try and raise money, which is something that I haven't done personally, so that's something that I would personally avoid. I like using my own funds. However, I think it's one of those things that if you know you're going to start a business, you need to start being really savvy with your funds. You need to be able to put money aside consistently or work harder, get a second job, right? A lot of people go into it thinking, oh, okay, I'm just going to quit my day job and then all of a sudden get into this hustle and make all this money. That's not how it works. You need to be generating money from over here to be able to support the business that you're bringing to market. I'd love your opinion.
Yeah, so when we started Tahira years ago, we didn't just be like, oh, we're going to drop everything and we're going to start, we're going to make millions and millions of dollars. This is going to be our next calling.
Tell them what we did, because I was still contracted.
Yeah, so she was actually with another company from the UK, and they were fantastic. And she was on a contract with them,
Right.
I believe.
A monthly contract, and it was good money.
Yeah.
It was really good money.
We were still doing training plans. We were doing a lot of things. We were doing retreats and all that kind of stuff. So we had 4 other things going at that time before we even kind of considered making money from Tahira at all.
Right.
Once it did start taking off and start making money, that's when we kind of were like, all right, you know what? Let's leave that company.
Right.
We're going to move out of fitness, as in the training plans, and that's how we started. So the other thing that Carly mentioned, which is a really important point that she said, is you need to get a second job, right? So if you are working currently at a 9 to 5, see if you can pick up more hours. That's going to cover your photo shoot. That's going to cover this and that. So you have to understand that to start any business, whether it's an online or brick and mortar, whether it's a service, anything, you need to really understand that you're going to go through struggles for about a whole year.
For sure. Sometimes a little longer.
Maybe longer, but I'm going to say a good year. You're going to have to put in that work. That means, a lot of entrepreneurs say that they lived off noodles and rice for however long.
We were on tuna and rice for a minute there also.
Exactly. So there needs to be some sort of struggle. Otherwise, if it comes too easy, you're not going to appreciate it.
Absolutely.
The other thing that you can do if you are struggling, if you have a best friend or you have a partner or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever that is, partner up with them. That's what me and Carly do.
Absolutely.
Because then you bring one knowledge, another knowledge, bring a different eye, all those sort of things.
I love
put
that.
it together.
And that is something that we have done across every single business that we have ever owned together. With Elvi and myself, we actually started working together before we got into a relationship. However, it's very lucky that Elvi and I have this same energy. We are very in sync all the time, and we make really fantastic business partners. And I have strengths that he doesn't have. Exactly what he said. I'm very more creative. I think more emotionally, in a sense. I'm very passionate about what I do, where Elvi is that logic thinker. He is that person that can be a little bit more straight to the point and be that really business savvy person that gives out business deadlines and has those really hard conversations that I would not really like to have. So I feel like that's the really fantastic thing. If you do go into partnership with someone, make sure it's someone you trust, because you don't want to be in a situation where you lose a lot of money and your business partner is either doing the dodgy or not putting in the same work ethic as you are. But find someone that you can really sync with, and
someone that's really good
together.
to use is, and I'm going to say this, is family. Because there's a lot more trust there. It can be your sister, it can be your cousin, whoever that is, it can be your mum, your dad, it doesn't really matter. But I would look at family first.
For sure.
So this way, for example, I'm just going to throw figures out there. Let's say you need $3,000 to start. it's easier to get 1,500 from them and 1,500 from you.
Absolutely.
Put it together and spend that accordingly when you need it. So they're the few little steps that I would do personally. So yeah,
I love it.
you know,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Beautiful. All right, I'm going to throw out another question to Elvi.
Let's do it in this heat.
We're in, guys, we're in LA. The weather is,
sweating.
it is beautiful. We're on our gorgeous rooftop and it's hot. Okay, so we're nearing the end of 2024, so we're already halfway over the year done. Now, if you were to start your business or any business of choice, what industry would you go into and why? Because a lot of people have, you know, they want to go into business, but they don't even know what they should be going into.
Okay. So I'm going to there's two parts to this question, and I'm going to give it to you. So the first one, what I wouldn't do is right now, I wouldn't do any businesses that are kind of brick and mortar. Now what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. I mean something like a restaurant and all those sort of things. And the reason being the overheads are extremely high, need a lot of money to start, and there's just a whole lot going, and you have to wait until you start making some money back. Sometimes you're going to have to wait 2, 3, 4 years.
Be paying rent and be paying
rent. Rents are going high, insurance is going high. It's just not a good idea. Now, I'm not saying it's a terrible idea for some people who have millions and millions of dollars and want to open up a fancy restaurant.
That's completely different.
But also they have to have some sort of experience in that industry, which comes to my second point of the question. Whatever you're going to do, make sure that you have some sort of knowledge first. So if we get a lot of girls saying they want to start their own active brand.
Right.
So let's use fitness example. Everyone's passionate about fitness, but remember fitness and clothing are two different things. You have to have some sort of knowledge or some sort of passion or some sort of expertise, if you will, and also willing to learn about the industry before you just kind of dump money into it, because it's very easy to spend money and it's very easy to make mistakes. So that's the first thing that I would do. Now what I would do, I would only do businesses online. The reason being, I've got a whole world as a market. It's easier to get attention. It's easy to monetize compared to a brick and mortar.
Through social media.
There's multiple things. If you ask me what I will do, I like to sell information. So for example, let's say you're a hairdresser. You can create a course or a special mastermind academy where you teach all your secrets.
Right, whether that's like hair extensions or how
all that kind of stuff, yeah. So, but you would need to provide your audience, your customers, with a journey of how you got there, what you do, everything about your store, and indirectly that would cover. You would make more money in your salon. But if you are starting from scratch and you have absolutely no idea what to do, I would be looking around where you live, who you know, what your strengths are, and pay attention to what's going on. So for example, for us, we noticed that people needed help with an online business. And that's where we're kind of like, okay, we're paying attention, and we noticed that there is a gap in the market. So we decided to do that. We didn't just be like, oh, copy everyone else, everyone's doing this and that, and we're just going to jump into it, because then you're jumping into a saturated market.
It's a lot harder.
It's a lot harder, and you're more likely to fail and waste money, and when you go into it, you're not going to be able to actually generate any money that you had in mind to reach those goals. So to answer your question properly, I would sell information, because it doesn't cost you anything.
Less overheads, or no overheads. Really?
Right? Or I would start by being some sort of middleman, if that makes sense. It's not really a business, but I would be some sort of.
But that's still sales.
It's some sales. Because again, it doesn't cost you anything. So
that's remote sales.
Yeah, so it can be a real estate agent. It can be, selling luxury items, whatever that is, being that middleman just taking a cut. So I will do something like that. Now, I know a lot of people want to get into that clothing business, which is, I think a lot of people want to do that because it's fun. It's cool. Everyone wants to wear their own clothing. Absolutely. And they see how other people and other brands are doing well. How I feel about that industry right now, it's becoming hard.
Of course.
It's becoming harder, but also if you do it right, you can be extremely successful. Because let's look at it. even right now, there's going to be a brand that's going to launch in a month, in 2 months, and they're going to be so successful in a year. There's no doubt about it. But there's also going to be 5 that are going to start that won't be successful.
Right.
So whatever you do, make sure that you do it properly and right. And that's where you come in really good with the whole social media,
right.
understanding how to find
market.
How to market, that's right. So
right.
they're the sort of things that I would do. The first one, again, sell information, middleman's sort of sales things, that's what I would personally do.
Beautiful.
Or if you have something that you're already doing, so let's say if you're a personal trainer, upsell. So go something a little bit more. So if you're an online personal trainer, how could you expand? So instead of just selling programs, so you can get other personal trainers underneath you.
Right.
You can be in a whole academy teaching people how to find clients and all that kind of stuff. So you can create an academy similar to us, but on personal training. So it's how you get that message across, get that information out there. And it's going to come down to social media at the end of the day. Because if you don't have a social media account now, I think it's going to be a little bit harder.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. So a lot of girls are asking you this main question right now is, in this day and age, being so difficult and so competitive, what would be the first step that you would do if you started at 0 followers? And that's something you can tell me because I'm on no followers. So I'm going to use Carly's techniques, and let's see if in a year if I grow my social media. How's that sound?
Love it. Why
All
not?
right.
Okay, social media. It is one of those things that a lot of people find very difficult to show up on. It is something that is going to require time and dedication and constant posting and the rest of it. So you have to understand that if you're at 0, don't expect to be at 100,000 followers tomorrow. That is not how it works, unfortunately. There are some steps that you need to take. I always suggest first, when you're going to start your social media account, what is your account about? Who are you? What's your message? What's the reason why people are going to follow you? What makes you different from the next influencer that is going to be in the same industry as you? So once you've figured out all of that information and you've packaged it up, you then need to start thinking about your content ideas and how you're going to strategize your content creation. You need to be showing up on your stories every single day.
Okay.
So
Point taken.
Point taken.
So I'm going to do this.
And not everyone all of the time can be 100% perfect at this, but it is about trying to stick to it as best as you can. So I always say what you want to do is you want to make sure your Instagram or any social media platform that you are currently using has a bit of a reality TV show. As females, not necessarily myself because I don't watch these, but Keeping Up with the Kardashians and Love Island, they are reality shows. They're doing like day-to-day basics, but it is something that draws a lot of women in to watch. So what you want to do is you want to think about your profile and how you showcase your life like a reality TV show. So every day-to-day task that you do can potentially be content as long as you are making it, you know, a little bit exciting and you're just showing up consistently filming that. So I would always suggest, okay, find a really cool routine that you do, that your followers know, and that, you know, once them, you want to get them to keep on coming back for more. So that's the first and foremost thing I would suggest. Stories was showing up every single day. Now when it comes to your content creation, don't just randomly shoot anywhere and hope for the best. People know when you've rushed your content and you haven't thought through it and everything else. You want to be putting your best foot forward. And I always suggest when you're looking at all the different social media platforms, figure out where you best sit, right? For us, obviously I'm on Instagram the most, and that is somewhere that I feel like is more of a professional platform in the sense that it's your business card, right? This is where you're going to get top collaborations. It's where you want it to look really good, because this is the platform that a lot of potential brand sponsors that you want to get on board are going to be looking at your perfect work. They want to be approaching you because you have the content that they desire to have on their page. So that would be the way that you could look at Instagram. On TikTok, it's about more showcasing your personality. It's a little bit more quirky. It's not a platform that I have pushed very much. However, we are on Bossed Up and we're pushing it now, and we're finding that, you know, we're paving our own way. We're not going down like the silly, I guess, dance route. We're going down more information, more like clickbait, catchbait type of content. So figuring out how you show up across different platforms. And at the end of the day, you also just need to find consistency when you're posting. So if you find a consistent routine, for example, posting on your wall 4 times a week, make sure you're sticking to that. Now, all I'm going to say is that yes, you also need to invest into your content. If you're in the fashion industry, Purchase outfits that are currently trending. If you're in fitness, make sure when you're doing your workouts, you're making it a little bit different, that you dress the part, that you look the part. Whatever you go into, as long as you put pride and you put effort into it, over time you will consistently grow.
Absolutely, okay. And I'm just going to speak on myself because I know a lot of the audience would have the same issue. Let's say I've started my new page,
right.
I've got 100 followers, and I feel a little bit sometimes let down that I'm posting and just I'm getting 10 likes, I'm not getting many comments. Do I change what I'm doing, or do I just keep consistent? Or do I look at it
I would say I would suggest how long you've been posting for. I feel like what I said before is that you can't expect to be posting and then overnight start getting all these followers. And there's so many different ways you could also go about it. If your page isn't necessarily gaining some traction, pair up with another person that has a following and start, utilizing, group content or like partnered content to start trying to get more traction to your page. Be consistent. If you're seeing people that are in the same industry as you, comment on their stuff. It's all about trying to be engaging and just trying to get your name out there. I would always say as well, you can probably spend like a good 4 to 6 weeks doing the same type of content. If that's not working for you, you need to try and figure out a way to change it up, because if that's starting to get a little bit boring and people aren't really, your current followers are also not engaging with that, then there's something wrong. We need to go back, we need to look over the plan again, the plan of attack, and be like, okay, well, this isn't working, what can I next do to get the content better performing?
So I just want to touch on one more thing. It's going to go back to that first question and kind of
right.
with this question, and there's a lot of people out there kind of similar to how I used to be, that don't really want to be the face
for sure.
of anything. They kind of want to just start a business in the back end. So what we have done, and because Carly did mention TikTok, now you can sell products very similar to Amazon on TikTok. So that's also a great idea that you can use similar to in a drop shipping way.
For sure.
There's also Amazon that you can use, and that's why we have created our Amazon program. So we teach you everything, how to start drop shipping on Amazon, FBA and FBM. So everything there from start to scratch, how to source manufacturers, how to find the right product, the trending products, the profit margins, all those sort of things. Any licenses for special products. So if you're selling baby stuff, you obviously need special standards. So we cover all of that in that program. That's if you really don't want to be in front of the camera and you just want to make money, or you want to make extra money, you don't want to leave your job. It's also a good way to generate income. So that's also there. I just thought I'd mention that.
I love that, and I will always suggest, if you're going to go down that route, which was absolutely incredible, you can 100% do that and make a lot of money off of that. You always want to sell a product that people will always need. We're not necessarily looking at, really niche products. We want to be, okay, you want your customer coming back time and time and time again. And there are incredible sites that you can use to see what products are trending, like Elvi said, and this is what we're going to provide you in that program. So regardless if you want to be the face and you want to be the creator and, right in front of the camera, or you want to be behind and, in the back end, we have both options for you. What is a very common reason as why people fail in business? Let's speak on an e-com online brand, because we're in 2024 and that's the way that most of us want to go.
Do you want me to answer it as you just starting out, or you're midway through your journey? Where do you want?
Let's go both.
Both, okay. So it's a really good question. My take on this would be, the first one would be ego. Now, you're probably thinking, why? What do you mean by that? So what I mean in that term is, you do not want to take any criticism, whether it's from customers, from employees, from your manufacturers. It can be just advice, and you don't want to take it. And you think that what you're doing is right, but you're stuck. Now, if you were right, why aren't you growing? Some people's ego is so big that they only think a certain way. They're locked in their mindset of just thinking, no, my way or the highway. Now, I always like to use this example, and most of you guys have seen this when we watch Gordon Ramsay Kitchen Nightmares, and you see a crazy restaurant owner, and Gordon Ramsay tries his food, and he says, what's the food like? And he says, oh, it's fantastic, it's the best, it's this and that, but they're not making any money. So that's where I get that term ego from. Now, you need to utilize some sort of ego in your business where you take control, but there needs to be a fine line where you're not overstepping that line and you're not taking any advice. It can be from customers, what they want. You know, we see this happen in a lot of industries, right? I see it in big companies. It's happened, and I'm gonna relate to, because I know there's some guys watching this. So I'm gonna relate to guys. I know a specific brand of cars, like Mercedes-Benz, who just wasn't listening to their customers, and they're struggling to make sales now because they just did not want to care. They thought, we're Mercedes-Benz, we're too big, we don't care, and now they've launched a few cars that they just cannot sell, and I mean a single unit, because of this issue. So if they can make this mistake, we can make this mistake. So we need to really think. So that's some of a big key point. Now, if you're in an online business, you also need to see, and again, it comes down to ego. Just because you love selling a certain product or a certain style, so let's look at clothing or activewear, that doesn't mean you're going to make money on it. So that's when, again, your emotional, your ego thinking will get in the way. If it's summer, let's say here in LA, and everybody wants to wear shorts, and it's extremely hot, it's 40 degrees, and you're starting to release thick leggings and it's not selling, but you love those leggings, you really need to weigh things up. So that could be a point where you're stuck at. And I see a lot of businesses that we do give advice to. We give some people advice, and we'll say something to them, look, your social media needs to get changed. You need to audit your social media. You're just posting photos of products. There's no story. There's no meaning anywhere. And a month later, they're doing the same thing, and then they're
wondering why they're not growing.
Worse.
Yeah.
And we've had some people that we've spoken, we've given them advice, we've told them, and they just like go down that same route. Now, by them going down that same route, they're still stuck in that same position, and they can never get out of it. So that means they will not grow. If anything, their business will go bust, because eventually they're not making money. Money's just going out. It's very easy to spend money, as I said. So now you really need to take on board from people that are in better positions than you and a lot smarter. Now, I'm not saying you have to go into take their advice and just listen to it and take it on board and action on that. You really need to take some advice, go back, think about it, see if you can put it into place, how it's going to affect you, will it benefit you, why will it benefit you, all those sort of things. And that's how you need to utilize that information. That's something I will do. The second thing that people stuff up and that puts those hurdles on would probably be not understanding when to pivot and how to pivot. And the other one that's kind of like a sub heading off that would be just thinking emotionally, because they don't understand how to pivot. And that's something that those thinking emotionally and not understanding how to pivot go hand in hand. So if you've got an online business and there's 5 competitors that have launched the same business, right? Now, they've got the same product as you, which that does happen. Some people are just releasing the same product, and we spoke about this before. They're slapping on just a different logo and expecting to sell it.
Right.
So their sales have gone from here, now they've gone down. So that's where my point 2 comes in, understanding when to pivot. So do you need to go buy more of that same shit? Or do you need to be like, okay, I need to maybe start creating my own sort of things. I need to market it a little bit different, to different audience. I need to hit a different market. There's different ways you can pivot. Think of it like a clock. You can go each direction, wherever you want to go. All that kind of stuff. So understand a pivot. Now, what's stopping people from pivoting is just thinking emotionally. They're just like, oh, it's a slow time of year, it's this, it's that, but they're not actually thinking what the problem is. So that's where you need to be looking at your competitors. You need to see what's going around you. You need to look what's happening, what the market's doing, all those sort of things. It could be a price point. Again, do you need to pivot from your price point? Do you need to go up more? Do you need to go down more? All those sort of things. I'm not a big person on going down in price, but you might have started way, way too high selling the same shit that the other person's selling.
Right.
So all those sort of things. And pivoting, again, come down to, how's your social media page looking? Is it boring? Is it not getting any traction at all? Are your ads, your creatives, are they boring? Are they just people swiping across and no one's actually gone to your website? So understanding how to pivot in those sections is going to help your business and make you more money. It's very simple. But that can come down to, again, I like to use big companies as well. We can look at Blockbuster. They didn't pivot at the right time and Netflix took over. Now Blockbuster's dead. And we see this with big companies, so it's very easy to see this in smaller little online businesses.
Right. I'm going to add in one point,
Sure.
and it kind of encapsulates everything that Elvi just said, but it's not having a business plan, right?
Yeah.
Not having any idea of what you're implementing, when you're implementing it, what the structure is of your entire business. A lot of people just bring something to the market and have zero preparation. It's like they think that, okay, well, you know, as soon as I launch it, I have this audience that already wants to buy it. Yeah, a small percentage of people do that have been on socials for a long time. But even in that sense, if you don't have a market already sitting there for that product, you need to figure out how you're going to get your product to market and in front of people's eyes. You know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, I'm just going to message this influencer and they're going to post for me and then I'm going to get like thousands of sales. That's not how life works unless you have a lot of money to throw out there, but a lot of you that are starting don't have that capital. So I believe that you need to understand that in business, it's not winging it. There are those steps that you need to take, and you have to constantly be auditing your business. You have to constantly be innovative and be like working really, really hard in the back end so that the product at the front thrives.
So that's a really, really good point, and I just wanted to mention that I said, where do you want me to start? In the middle of having a business or at the beginning? So I'm going to go back to the beginning now. What Carly just said, it's something as simple as not having that plan and structure, knowing where to go. So this is, for example, where we come in to save you that time. Now, some of you guys, well, why would I want to pay them? Because I know it all. Again, it comes down to my other point, that ego, thinking that you know more. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been in online businesses for what now? 7 years since we've been together?
Yeah, and then 10 years on my own.
Yeah, so we're looking at nearly a decade of ups and downs and successes and mistakes, and you're thinking, nah, I can do this on my own. It's getting a lot harder. It's getting so cutthroat, it's getting difficult, it's getting more expensive. So this is where we come in and we want to give you that hand, we want to give you that advice. And whether you take it, and how you take it, that's completely up to you. To us, it doesn't really matter if you go home and be like, no, I'm going to do this on my own. Most of the time, you know, 9 out of 10 times there will be failures because it is so difficult right now. Even every business, the business that we're doing right now, Bossed Up, this has taken so much planning, so much of all our knowledge and so much work that if someone else is going to start it, they'll probably fail in the first week. And that's just me being, again, very honest and open opinion about it. So again, it comes down to that ego. It doesn't cost you a lot to save a lot of time and money and put your ego at the door.
But it also just fast tracks your progress.
Yeah.
You know, you can be making those costly mistakes and you can be, you know, launching the incorrect way and everything else. But when you have someone that knows what you need to do, you're going to make money faster. But of course, it's only going to come down to you put the work ethic in and you match our energy. All right, so we've kept that short and sweet, some really good juicy points, a lot of information that you can take away from everything that we've just said. Like Elvi mentioned, we're going to be doing this weekly, so make sure you tune into the next episode.
Yeah, making fun.
We have a lovely chapter in the year. But yeah, we hope you loved it. Like, subscribe, send it to somebody. Comment below what you want to see next and ask us some questions.
Let's do it.